So for everyone here is Jess, your life and transition coach through your inner vitality. And today I have the beautiful Darcy Herring, which is a senior coach and helps out youths and family. And she gets to dig in with us for a two-part series today, which is super. So stay tuned for session 1 as well as session 2. It's a little bit of who you are and what you do.
Well, like you said, I am Darcy Herring, and I work with families to support, empower, and educate them about anxiety and tools and strategies to help them bring, that chaotic life more to a calming place.
Yeah. And I feel like right now, more than anything, this is an area where as families, from one fellow mom to another, our household could be tranquil, and then in mere minutes, it could also be an absolute zoo and chaos.
Absolutely. And it's just, the underlying level of anxiety in everyone is just elevated based on what's going on right now. And it just feels like people are more quick to react. They're more quick to, get angry or frustrated with somebody else or with themselves. And so it's with that quick reaction, it causes a ripple effect, right? One person reacts,
Yeah.
then another, and then all of a sudden you've got the whole family quickly reacting to everybody, and you don't know what happened.
I was just thinking that. I was like, and you don't always know the reasons why you've even just reacted and what's going on.
Yeah. It can be crazy sometimes.
Yeah. And so today we're going to dig in. You had said we're going to talk a little bit about trends and some tools to actually help our kids today, and maybe in turn will eventually help us too. So I'd love if you could dig into that too for us.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest trends that I'm seeing right now has to do with socialization and friends being excluded on the other end. Like the natural way that kids make friends, just going up to someone and sort of starting to play with them or asking them if they can play, it's kind of stunted right now because we're not allowed. We're not in this space where you can just walk over to somebody and be like, hey, can I play? Well, no. Are they in your cohort at school? Are they in your same zone? Are they at school the same days you're at school? And I think kids and teens, they're really struggling with being separated from who they knew, from their best friends, from their good friends. Because, like, from what I hear, my kids are still in elementary school, but what I hear about the high schools is half the school's at school on Monday and Wednesday, and the other half are there Tuesday, Thursday. So what if my best friend is there on Tuesdays and I'm there Mondays? Like, it's just adding this whole level of lack of support, because that's where kids get support from, right? Their friends. It's where they learn to be part of a community, part of a classroom is by experimenting, right? When you're meeting new people or when you're playing a game, and all those social norms of taking turns and letting other people talk or be it, or any of those things that can range from elementary school all the way up to high school, they're not allowed to do them anymore. And they're stuck with who they're with, which can be great if it's your best friend and you get along with everybody.
Yeah.
But if it's not, and your people are not in that cohort, you can feel alone, you can feel excluded. And for our kids, with what they're dealing with right now, adding this on top of it just adds to that. And they're having to deal with stuff that they never had to deal with before. So there's sadness and anger, frustration, even low self-esteem and low confidence, because you don't have that best friend to boost you up on those days where you're feeling like crap. Like, I remember going to high school having a bad hair day, and my best friend's like, it's all right, don't worry, it doesn't look that bad, you're fine. Like, but they boosted me up.
Yeah, and you trusted their opinion, right?
Yeah.
Mom and dad are always the coolest in the group, right? So I do agree. And actually, my daughter, she's in high school, and what you've just described is her school schedule. And she can't even have lunch with her friends. She has to race back home to be able to get to her online course. So it's ironic, like the trend that you're saying, I'm affirming that because, you know, her and I just had a conversation the other night and she says, I feel so isolated. Everybody that's, you know, all of their friends are divided amongst these classes or cohorts and they don't get to see each other. And they haven't quite figured that out yet.
No, and in a world where as parents we're trying to get our kids off of social media and away from the screens and interacting in real life, they can't. They're not allowed to by the government, right? And to keep us safe, like I completely understand. It's just making socialization a little bit more tricky, especially in those awkward stages, right? When you're a teenager and you're trying to find your place, right? Do you fit in with these guys or those guys? Well, you can't even try it out. You can't even go and sit with this group at lunch and see how they are, and then maybe talk to somebody else in next period and see if I fit in better with them. You have no choice. You're stuck with who you're stuck with.
Yeah. And I think too, that whole socializing component, what I've learned is, you know, has been an anchor for my daughter. And this is also like she's in grade 11. So these are the years where now for her, in her world and her goals and her career aspirations and what she wants to do for college or university, if that's what their dreams are, it is really being tested because these grades mean everything to them right now. And their support base that they're used to having there isn't quite there. Or when they are together, like she even commented how it was almost awkward when she's seen one of her friends that she hadn't seen in months. They didn't know what to say to each other. And it, you know, and what to do and what, you know, so I definitely, the pressures are there in so many different ways. And the social element is definitely lacking for them, what they're used to. Even though they are on social media, they're not necessarily on social media with each other either.
Yeah, and the conversation is different when you're on social media or even on Zoom. You get one person talking, you can't have multiple conversations going in a small group of people because you're all on the same screen, you're all listening to the same thing. Whereas say you're standing outside at recess time and you've got 6 people, you can kind of turn and talk to one of them, right? You don't have to talk to the other 4 if you have to ask them a question about, say, science class or something. You can have these different conversations, and it's a different way of interacting than just sitting here listening. Okay, and when's my turn to speak, right?
Yeah.
It's so very different, and it's been going on for such a long time, right? Since March. It's been months. It's not just been a couple weeks where you're separated from your friends. No, it's been going on for a significant amount of time, and we're seeing the impact on the kids and the level of uncertainty in their world, right? When you can go to school and someone comes up to you and be like you see it all the time with girls. I hate to stereotype, but they're like, they're so excited to see each other. How does that boost your self-esteem when you walk into school and someone is that excited to see you?
Yeah.
Like when you've woken up, you've had a crappy day. Maybe you fought with your mom before you left the house. Maybe you missed the bus, so you had to walk, or your homework's late or something. You walk in and someone's eyes light up and they're so excited to see you for absolutely no reason other than you are you.
Yeah.
Right? You log on to Zoom and they're like, hey, yeah, hi. Like, it's not the same. They don't have that same running up to each other and hugging and jumping. And I know I kind of make fun of it sometimes in movies, and girls are like, but you know, it creates this social space where you can feel good about yourself when you surround yourself with the right people. And you're deciding in a teenage year who those people are. Right? We're not given the choice. The kids aren't. They're like, this is your class. This is who you can hang out with, and that is it. You're not
the boxes are so defined.
Yeah. So you don't even get that choice. Yeah, it could be great for those kids that are always around the same people and to branch out and meet new people. Absolutely. but we also need that secure, that safe foundation that we can come back to, right? Because you're not always in class with your best friend through high school because you pick different classes and you're put in different schedules. But walking down the hall or on lunch break, right? Like, hey, yeah, I'll see you later. I'll meet you at your locker. They don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not there. So there's
So you talk about
nobody.
foundation there. Tell me a little bit about, I guess, that you're thinking we've got to get back into the foundation. And I don't know if this is where some of the tools are or what you're needing to see for foundation.
Yeah, and that's absolutely it, is trying to build that foundation at home. It's more difficult with teenagers than it is for younger kids because not all teenagers want to hang out with mom and dad or want to listen to them or do activities or even watch TV. I get it.
I don't know why. I'm pretty cool, but anyways.
Right? I just got to hold on to my coolness for a few more years when my kids hit there. Yeah. But it's much easier for me with a 9-year-old to say, hey, can we play a game? Hey, let's watch a movie together, than it is sometimes for teenagers. So I absolutely get that this is not easy all the time. But being able to allow your child to be good at something or your teenager to be good at something at home. Because when you're at school, and especially for those teenagers that struggle at school and like their marks aren't great and they work their butts off, but they're still not getting the A's, that's kind of all they have right now. They're not good at making where else. They're not doing the activities anymore because those have been canceled. So they're not good at that. So helping them problem solve at home for stuff that they're interested in. Like to be like, hey, I don't know how to fix this socket on the wall, for someone that's artsy is like, yeah, neither do I. Good luck, mom. And they'll walk away. But if they are into hands-on stuff or electrical stuff or construction, involving them in some of the projects around the house can definitely help give them a sense of, okay, I'm needed. Somebody is coming to me for suggestions or help. You know, that just boosts that self-esteem, just that little bit to be like, yeah, you know what? They do listen to me. Somebody is listening to me.
It's actually interesting that you said that, because before even getting on to our meeting today, I was doing some social media tiles and I was like, I don't know, this doesn't look right. So I asked Athena to come in and be like, what do you think? And she's like, blah. I'm like, I know. And then it just went into a beautiful, like we had some really great time together. It was quality time. And it's actually exempling what you're saying, and all of her tips. And when we changed it, looked beautiful. Didn't start that way, but it ended that way. And it is something that she's really good at doing, right? So that's such a neat thing that we just happen to be.
Yeah, look at that synchronicity, right?
Yeah, synchronicity.
But sometimes it doesn't happen that way, and you need to kind of make it happen. So don't cause a problem at your house. Don't make the electricity go haywire or whatever, but ask when you may not have asked before. Or, like you might have to create it. I was talking to one family the other day about a dad wanted to connect more with his son. And I was like, find a problem, because his son is very, very big-hearted. He loves helping. So I was like, find a problem he can help you with. You may have to create one, but it's got to be around something he's interested in. Like you can't just, like I said, find some random thing. He's not going to care. But something that he's interested in, like you said, the social media. You had a problem, right? And Athena was able to help you with it, which was super awesome.
Yeah.
So that is amazing that you were able to do that, because just doing that and listening to her, taking her advice, putting what she said into practice is like, oh, you know what? Mom does listen. Oh, so yeah, I am good at something.
Yeah, it's almost like, because that's what I think they get from a lot of their friends is their friends come to them for something and they're being
Yes.
useful. And right now they're not finding that usefulness. It's honestly you're mirroring conversations that I've been having with Athena over the
Yeah.
last little bit. And it is referring to, she doesn't feel like she's good at anything. And in turn, it's actually making her think that she's not good at class. And then, that feeds into a whole
Mm-hmm.
whack of like just your self-fulfilling prophecy and all of that good stuff too. Well, not good stuff, bad stuff, but
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the other things is to include them in decisions. Like it may not be a problem, but like say you're grocery shopping or prepping your meals for the week, and you have somebody, a teenager that it enjoys cooking or at least likes food, which most teenage boys like food.
So you
Right
probably can get
there,
at least number two out of
right?
somebody. Yeah.
Ask them, what do you want for meals this week? What would you like me to get? As opposed to just going and getting what you know they like. Ask them, involve them in a conversation. And just those things that, like, you're not going to outwardly be like, yeah, so I involved you in a conversation. You must feel like you're worthy now. No, it's not going to be outwardly, but it is going to land with them and be like, oh, yeah, okay, they do value my opinion. And you know what? Maybe they'll come up with something new that you haven't eaten in a few months and can twist up the menu a little bit to make it more exciting, because we kind of get into those threads too, but that's a whole other story. So
It's a whole other series.
right, but like involving them in decisions.
Yeah.
So should we get this, should we have, or maybe asking them to cook one night if they love making things and trying out new recipes, like, hey, why don't you cook something, or why don't you help me today, what do you think I should use, this or this?
Yeah.
Right? Whatever their interest is, try and incorporate that into the house a little bit more than what we used to, because, like you said, they used to get that from their friends. Like, oh, hey, you're so good at drawing. Can you draw this picture for me for my project? Or can you show me how to do this? Or, hey, you're really good at spelling. Can you check whatever? Like,
Yeah.
but they don't get that anymore.
So, I feel like you're a fly in our house. So, because, you mentioned about the cooking component or the food. I have found when I can get her in the kitchen with me and cooking together, it's a beautiful experience and we really do enjoy it, but I don't always win with that.
Yeah.
So I think the other component could be that it doesn't always have to be making dinner. It could be something different, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's a win, and what doesn't win can also be a win down the road. It doesn't have to be discarded completely, I'm wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
and that's a really good point, is if you try something and it doesn't quite work out, don't just say, oh, that doesn't work. Maybe try it another day, because, we have our days where we don't feel like doing anything. Our teenagers have days where they don't feel like doing anything, and maybe you got them on that day, and anything you asked of them that day would have been a no. So try it on a different day when they're in a different mood, or maybe when you're doing something different. Maybe it's not a meal, but maybe you're like, hey, do you want to have some hot chocolate? And like, let's make some really good hot chocolate and sit and watch a movie or something. Like
Yeah.
doing a snack, a yummy snack that's their favorite, or having them help you make their favorite pie, right? Or something like that, where it's not just cooking a meal, but it's also rewarding for them because it's something they really, really love.
Yeah. There's a benefit at the end of it for
Right?
everybody.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
like pie?
So so far you've given us two tips, and I think they're really good ones. One
Yeah.
was what we just spoke about was getting them to be a part of the decision process, and then the other thing is having them help you in the house on things that they're good at. Get them involved in being the
Yeah.
solution to these
Yeah.
decisions too, maybe.
Yeah. One last thing I would love to bring up, because it goes right along with your theme of gratitude, is
Yeah.
this again may be tricky depending on your teenager and the day, but have a family gratitude journal. So
Mm,
often people do these as an individual, and they spend a few minutes every night being thankful for a few things of that day, or they'll do it first thing in the morning. But having a family one opens it up and gives others different ideas of what to be grateful for. And it doesn't have to be written. Like if you have an artist in the house and they want to draw a picture of something, that's their gratitude of what they're thankful for. If they want to cut out a picture somewhere, I don't know if people have magazines anymore. I know we don't have many, but if you do, you could cut that out and paste it on. Like it doesn't have to be just written. It can be in a different format. But circle back around to it every couple days with your teenager. Like, hey, this is what I added this day. What do you think you could add today? And it doesn't have to be every day, because again, that may become very overwhelming for a parent to try and get their teenager every day, but a couple times a week. And you can leave it out in the open where anyone could just pick it up and read through it, what you guys are grateful for, and you may find your teenager picking it up every now and then. Just look.
I love that. And I think that we do a lot of gratitude in the house, but it's not intentional, actually. Now that I even think about what you're saying, I do gratitude entry every single day. I've been doing that for like 8 years. But there are times where I know Thena's kind of, not feeling so great. It's not having a good day. And I'm like, tell me something good. What's good in your day today? And a lot of times I'll get the first response is, I don't know. But then I don't let her get away with that. I'm like, okay. And I just wait. And she's like, oh, okay. She's actually looking for an answer. But it ends up being a discussion. For her, the discussion is what works well with her. But I love that idea of finding a way that it's going to work for the family. Whether that be written, pictures, vocal, whatever that is.
Yeah, and even something you can go back to as well, because on some days you can't always find something. And so it's like, okay, well, let's go look at what we did have gratitude for last week or yesterday even. And then so instead of having to come up with something, just remembering what you were grateful for the days before can just turn your day around too. So I know some families have a chalkboard in their house, just writing some things on the chalkboard. And then each week, let's erase it. Let's put some new gratitudes up there so that it's there.
Yeah, I go back to my gratitudes. It's mine is a 5-year journal, so I can see every year prior on that day what I've put down. And you're right, there is a lot of power, especially in days where you just need to, a little bit of a pick-me-up. And it's amazing how you can remember it just by that 1 or 2 sentences that you have written down there. So, gratitude, making sure that we have gratitude in there for everybody, and a way to be able to look back on that and reflect on those days that you can maybe need that help to keep you picked up.
Because even somebody that's doesn't want to write it down or draw pictures, recording it on your phone, because there's a recording app, just a little voice message. Hey, today I'm grateful for this. And then just label it the date, and there it sits on your phone. It's not a long thing. It doesn't take up a ton of memory, but you can go back and you can listen to it, right? That's part of the key.
And there are actual gratitude apps as well that are there for free. So I think that even is another, I feel like we're just spiraling into such great things as we're chatting about this. And there's so many different ways that people can do it as a family. And I think it's about being creative.
Yeah, that's kind of how we have to be these days, is creative, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
so those any other tips?
Yeah, those are the biggest tips I can say right now to try and get through those times where their kids are not connected and try and make that connection.
I think right now our youth are starving for connection because their avenues of that have changed. And as parents, I think today what was nice is you voiced the trend and be able to connect that to what we're all kind of experiencing. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It sounds like these 3 simple steps that you suggested today, being a part of the decision, being a part of the solution and helping out, as well as sharing gratitudes, are simple, and they really don't take any tools or resources. They're right at our fingertips.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Darcy, I really appreciate you taking the time out today to spend with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on our calls. And of course, we are doing a 2-part series to this, guys. So stay tuned, because the next series is all about the parents. You guys, we always want to take care of our kids first, but we got to take care of ourselves, right, Darcy?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes.
So Darcy, yeah, go ahead.
One last thing before I go is that I
Yeah,
do have my book coming out soon,
that's what I was gonna
Chaos to
ask.
Calm, and it's a guide for parents to help their children and teens with anxiety. So it's coming out in the next, hopefully before the end of the year is my goal.
Okay.
So I just want to let everyone that's listening right now just shoot me a message, because I am creating a list of those that want to know immediately when that book comes out and be first on
Yeah.
the list to get a copy of one of them, because it is just jam packed full of useful information and very, very effective strategies. So reach out to me. I know, Jess, you're going to put my information there, but you
Mhm.
can reach me at Darcy Herring Coach on Facebook, my website, darcyherring.com. And just let me know, and you'll be added to that amazing list so that you will be one of the first to know when it is on sale.
And that book was called Chaos to Calm, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Darcy, that is amazing. So please reach out. She's given you your contact information. There will be a slide at the end as well, so that you have easy access to this and on the post. Again, it is Jess, your life and transition coach through your inner vitality. It's your time.